Hello Uplanders, I'm YK2012, founder of the Upland Guide. Upland just released a second quarter update introducing some of the things that we can expect to see. The big one on the news was manufacturing and cars, and I'm going to jump into a number of those topics in this video. I'm not going to cover everything, but I hope to give you guys some more insight as to what Upland will be doing in the future, and it also poses a lot of questions, and I will pose some of those rhetorically because I don't have all the answers, but hopefully sooner or later we will be able to have those questions answered, and I will be there in order to fill you in with all the details. The founders of Upland will be at South by Southwest on March 14th, 2022, and they will be introducing the topic of cars. So we will definitely hear a lot more about that in the coming days. And if you stumbled upon this video and this is the first video you're seeing from the Upland Guide, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and you can learn a lot more about how to reach Uplander status. Learn everything you need to know about Upland from our channel. Now let's go ahead and jump into the first topic, which is going to be Metaverse Motors manufacturing plant. Upland has just announced their own native car brand, Metaverse Motors, and the headquarters of this is located at 4220 Network Circle in Santa Clara. Here we can see the property in Santa Clara, and first of all, it is absolutely ginormous. We can see here that the manufacturing plant is quite large in itself. If we click on this property, we can actually see just how big it is. It's 35,668 up squared, which is absolutely huge, and you can see that the sheer size of the manufacturing plant itself. Until now, many would classify Upland as a property trading and building game, where you are buying and selling land, building properties on top of that, and waiting for more features to come out. Now these features are coming out, and we're talking about manufacturing. And manufacturing brings an entire new element into the game. The primary resource for manufacturing is spark. As you know already, spark is used to build your structures or your homes on your properties. We also know that spark will be required in order to build cars and outdoor decor. If you want to put a fence around your yard, or you want to build a deck or a swimming pool in your backyard, spark will be required for that. Not only will you need the spark, but you will have to manufacture it in a manufacturing plant. Upland has hinted about the differentiation between the actual manufacturing plant and where you will be selling these items, and I will talk a little bit more about that in one of the upcoming slides. Upland has said that in the beginning, only Upland will be manufacturing these cars through their Metaverse Motors car brand, and in the future there will be opportunities for other brands to come in and create and manufacture items, and also in the future Uplanders and regular players will also have that opportunity. In the real world, manufacturing anything is not so trivial. There are a lot of things that companies have to deal with. And Upland has not only recognized this, but they are also saying that within Upland and within the metaverse, we are also going to have to be wary and deal with these different things. We can see here that the managing of production queues, defining and managing of production lots, and the ability to place and reposition multiple items on the same property will fall underneath the umbrella of manufacturing plants. So these manufacturing plants will have to learn how to deal with different demands from different customers within the metaverse who want their products sooner or later. We will have to look at how are you going to define a manufacturing lot. If you're producing 500 cars, why would you want to produce 500? Maybe you could produce 400. You'd get it faster, but it might cost you a little bit more per car. And this is where we're looking at something like mass production versus custom jobs. There is a reason that an Aston Martin costs multiple times more than a regular Volkswagen sedan. And that's because of the number of items that are being produced in each manufacturing lot. If you're mass producing and you want to produce hundreds of thousands of cars, then the price per car will be a lot less compared to manufacturing something like an Aston Martin. If you have lower production quantities, then more of your manufacturing will be manual and not automated, and this will increase the price per car. And I'm thinking that we can expect the exact same thing within Upland. If you wanted to produce 100 custom-made swimming pools for your neighborhood's backyards, that would cost you a lot more per swimming pool compared to if you wanted to produce 5,000 of those. So these are things that manufacturers and people who own stores within Upland who will want to manufacture different things will have to take into consideration. And the question is, how is all of this going to be managed by these manufacturing plants? Is this information going to be transparent to us? How will we know which customer is going to get what first? Where does all this spark come from? Will we expect to see the spark exchange? Because we know that Upland likes to play by its own rules. When they have to produce something, they ensure that they have the spark required in order to build that. And up until now, it has all been simulations, but they have held themselves to their own standards that they hold us to. So building requires spark, and it's going to be interesting to find out where this manufacturing plant is going to get the spark required to build all these cars. This is also the first time that they have mentioned anything about what I like to call renovations, and that means placing and repositioning multiple items on the same property. Maybe if you have a house that you built and it might be put on backwards, or you don't like its positioning because now you want to put a swimming pool in the backyard, you will be able to make changes to that. I'm assuming that that is also going to cost a number of spark hours in order to make those changes, but it's nice to see on their roadmap that they are acknowledging that this is going to be something that they are addressing. Back over here in the Upland Metaverse, we can see when I turned on the tags that this property is actually owned by Oracle. And if you do a quick Google search on Oracle, you will learn some very interesting things about what this company is. I do not believe that there are any coincidences in Upland. Upland does a very good job of thinking through and creating the necessary parallels between the real world and the metaverse, and I don't think that it is any coincidence that the very first production plant is being placed on an Oracle property. I pulled up the Oracle Corporation Wikipedia page, and this isn't really the interesting stuff, but it is the very basis of what I think is going to be happening in Upland. We can see here that the company sells database software and technology, cloud engineering system, enterprise software products, enterprise resource products, human capital management, customer relation management. All of these types of software are things that are absolutely related to managing manufacturing facilities. I think that there is a reason to believe that there is a partnership between Upland and Oracle in some capacity. But when I was looking further into what Oracle is, the more interesting thing that jumped out to me was actually a company that I think many of us are absolutely familiar with, and that is Red Bull. Red Bull has a Formula One racing team, and Oracle is actually the sponsor of that racing team. So if we look at something with the release of cars coming, with the manufacturing plant on Oracle, with Oracle's connection to Red Bull Formula One racing, I think that maybe there is something brewing here where Oracle, Red Bull, and Upland are going to be coming out with some interesting things regarding cars. On the next slide that I'm going to get to in just a moment, when I talk more about cars, I will also mention something even more interesting that Red Bull is doing with cars in the real world. On the topic of cars, we have known for quite some time that Upland has a partnership with CryptoMotors.io, where they will be designing and bringing cars into the Upland Metaverse. What we learn now is a little bit more about what we can expect with car racing. First of all, it's going to be fully animated in 3D, and this absolutely plays into the notion that in the future, the Upland Metaverse, and not just the Upland Metaverse, but any metaverse, will be fully immersive. Players will be wearing goggles or some sort of glasses or something that has augmented reality or virtual reality factored into that. So we will be seeing our first taste of this in the Upland racing. New utilities for block explorers. We know that block explorers will be the drivers of these cars. Each of these block explorers will have different functions and different abilities, with your ability to train them and improve their skills at certain parameters that are necessary for racing, such as acceleration or braking reaction times. So all of these things will be factored into the block explorers, making it extremely interesting to see how those will interact with the cars. I go into more detail about cars and block explorers in the video in the upper right hand corner. You can also find a link to the website in the description below if you want to read up more on those topics. The next thing is racing academies, and this is the first mention of that within the metaverse. Essentially, what racing academies will be is players who own lots and lots of block explorers will be able to rent them or lease them out potentially to other players who are willing to be drivers. It's possible that some of these cars are going to be extremely expensive and may be priced out of a lot of players' price range, but that doesn't mean that they won't be able to participate in racing. There will be players who are able to have the funds to purchase these race cars, and they can lease them out to some of these other players who are willing to do the racing. Upland is a play-to-earn game, meaning that by playing you are able to earn. And similar to treasure hunting, this will absolutely be the same case in racing to some capacity. If you lease a car from someone and you are earning by racing, then it is expected that you would be splitting the profits with the person who owns the actual car. And this is something that is very similar to what happens in the real world. Not every race car driver actually owns his car, owns the team, owns everything around that car. So when a real racer wins a race, he obviously gets part of the prize, but the team who funds the car, who owns the car, will also earn a part of those winnings. So that is something that is going to be similar to what we can expect in these racing academies. And as I mentioned, with these block explorers, it will be a task where if you are driving and continuing to play in these racing competitions, either against the clock or maybe even against other uplanders, then you will be able to improve your block explorer, maybe also improve the actual car as well. So there is the element of not only earning, but also improving your own skill as a driver, you personally who is going to be playing within the game, but also improving the statistics of your block explorer. The last topic about racing, which I think has infinite possibilities of being something that is absolutely innovative, new, and doesn't exist anywhere else, is the ability to create self-generated racetracks. The best part about Upland is that it is mapped on top of the real world. And when you're mapping something over something like Google Maps, and you have other applications like Waze or within Google Maps to be able to define a path from A to B, if you wanted to get from one place to another place, Google will show you how to do that. Within Upland, you will be able to create your own racetrack by defining different intersections on any part of the map and connecting those together, thus defining a racetrack where you and your friends or other Uplanders can come and race. How will that work within the game? I don't actually know, but it will be very interesting if someone who understands some of these cities, if you are someone who lives in Chicago and knows all the streets of Chicago, and you know the Loop neighborhood and some really cool places downtown, and you know how to make a really cool map for racing, maybe that will attract other players over to Chicago to test out your racetrack. It's not entirely clear how any of this will actually work, but I think the possibilities are absolutely endless. With the ability to actually earn within racing, does that mean that maybe you can own that racetrack? And if you create a racetrack that other players use, do you get some sort of royalty for them playing with your racetrack? These are lots and lots of questions that I'm thinking of. We don't have the answer, but hopefully we will see a little bit more information from Upland regarding this. And regardless of if you can earn by creating these racetracks or not, The possibilities are endless, and this is going to be something that is going to be extremely fun and probably addictive as well, especially when we're talking about play-to-earn games. We're looking for something that's absolutely fun, something that we want to do over and over again, and adding the element of the ability to actually earn while doing that makes blockchain gaming something that is really innovative and exciting. With cars also comes the topic of ride sharing. If you're going to want to get from one place to another faster, potentially you could walk, but you might want to take a car. It will get you there faster. And if you don't have a car, then you might want to ask a friend within Upland to drive you somewhere. You might want to order an Uber. If you want to get really quickly to one of these stores where you found a cool sale and there's an NFL player legit that you want to buy, you're going to want to get there fast. So you're going to want to take a taxi, an Uber, whatever that might be, in order to get you there. And this is a way that players who do own cars can provide a service to other Uplanders and make and earn UPIX while doing that as well. The same thing goes for a delivery service. If you just ordered a custom swimming pool and you want that delivered to your house, you might need someone who has a semi-trailer in order to bring that to you. Because if you own a sports car, chances are you're not going to be able to put a swimming pool in the back of your sports car. So you will have to pay someone to actually deliver that to you, install it, or place it on your property in the proper location, and all of that will cost UPIX as well. On the topic of cars, Upland also made sure to mention that there's so much more that can be done, and I couldn't agree with that anymore. I could talk for hours on this topic, but there will be more information that will be provided, and I will create more videos on this in the future, of course. I also said that there is an interesting link regarding cars between Oracle and Red Bull. In addition to Red Bull having a real-world Formula One racing team, Red Bull also has an esports racing team, which is also sponsored by Oracle. So when you look at Red Bull, they are not only in the real world, they are also in the virtual world. And Oracle is sponsoring both of those teams, both in the Red Bull in the real world and in the virtual world. And Upland has created the manufacturing plant on Oracle's property. So maybe there really is something here between all three of these organizations that we can expect. I won't dive too much more into this. If I happen to be right, you can absolutely expect there to be another video on this. And if I am wrong about this, then maybe Upland should reach out to me in order to help find some partnerships, because this would be something that is absolutely very, very cool and interesting, and I can think of a lot of ways that Oracle, Red Bull, and Upland can do some amazing things in the metaverse. The next topic I'm going to discuss briefly are showrooms. This is the first mention that we have heard of this new type of metaventure. Showrooms will be the place where manufactured items are displayed in a store where people will be able to come and purchase them. Unlike Block Explorer stores or maybe even legit fan shops, we know that items that will be manufactured are absolutely 3D items that you will want to take a look at from all different angles. And compared to Block Explorer shops, I think we can expect showrooms to be a lot more immersive, where maybe in the future with AR or VR goggles you will be able to walk around and look inside an actual store. I think we can expect a similar experience when players are able to create galleries inside their homes. If you want to invite someone into your house, into your virtual home, you're going to want to let them walk around, take a look at the different things you have on your walls, whether it be a collection of your Block Explorers or legits, or maybe you are importing something else from the Wax blockchain, or in the future maybe other blockchains. If you have a CryptoPunk or a VFriend or something else and you want to bring that and show that to other players, other Uplanders, you're going to want your house to be really cool and interesting, and I think that showrooms will be the base of how you can expect that to look. And again, within these showrooms you can expect to see cars, outdoor decor, structure ornaments, and other items that are manufactured using Spark in manufacturing facilities. With these showrooms you can start to understand the differences between what is a manufacturing plant and what will be a showroom. The manufacturing plant is going to be where you have to think about how much you're going to be producing of each asset. You're going to need the spark over there in order to manufacture it, but you're also going to need a different place where you're going to show those off within a store and people are able to come visit and purchase them. Just like in the real world, very few opportunities you have to actually go to the manufacturing facility in order to purchase a product over there. That is because typically manufacturing plants require a lot of space in order to produce things, and you would have a showroom which is a lot smaller and more located in more densely populated neighborhoods where people will come and take a look at what's on sale and purchase it from that showroom. On the topic of MetaVentures, they have also introduced the topic of submerchants. This means that a player who owns a store might want to sublet some of his spots to other players to list things for consignment. At the moment, if I want to put something up in my store, I have to be the owner of that asset. Whereas in the future, you will not have to transfer the ownership from that asset to the store owner, but the store owner will be able to allow that player to place his item in the store, and he will also be able to define the amount of commission that the store owner will take from these players. It says here that you will be able to manually adjust the commission rate for their MetaVentures. This raises another question. Does that mean that on each specific store there is a one constant commission rate for all of the players who put something up in that store? Or can I customize it based on player or based on specific asset? So these are some other questions that will be answered, I'm sure, in due time. But these are some interesting things that I'm thinking of, and I'm sure many other people are interested to know if they plan on opening up stores or MetaVentures within Upland, and even players who may not want to open up their own store but want to be able to sell some of the assets that they own. The next topic here is venture dues. Now we know that in order to open up a MetaVenture, you are going to have to pay a monthly fee. And here they give us a little bit more information. It says each month owners of MetaVentures will be required to pay a variable fee that is calculated based on the median UPEX contribution made from MetaVenture owners of the same type in the same locale to the Upland community pool. So this is a jam-packed statement, and I'm going to break this down a little bit for you. The most important thing here is that the money will go back to the Upland community pool. This means that it is coming to us as the players and not to Upland, the game itself. We all earn UPEX through property yields, through collection bonuses, through other contests and other ways that we get UPEX, and all of this comes from the Upland community pool itself. So when players who own businesses have to pay these dues, it's actually going back into the pool that comes to us as the players. This fee will also have to be paid monthly, and it will be variable. It will change from month to month. This will change based on how much UPEX or money each of these stores will be bringing in on a monthly basis. When they take a look at these stores, they are breaking it up into different categories. Firstly by city, and secondly by type of store. So they are not comparing Block Explorer shops to fan shops or any other types of stores. So each category will have its own city and its own type that it will be compared against. And what they will be doing is they will be calculating the median revenue that each of these stores bring in, and it will use that number in order to calculate a fee that is not yet known, but hopefully it will be communicated exactly how it is calculated. But they will be using the median revenue from these stores in order to define the fee for that specific month that each of the MetaVenture owners will have to pay. And I really like the fact that they have chosen to use the median number instead of the average number, and by doing so it will ensure that any MetaVentures that are doing exceptionally well and are above and beyond a lot of these other ones will have less of an influence on the amount that each MetaVenture has to pay. The same thing goes on the other end. If there's a meta venture that was not successful that month at all in earning any type of money, it will also not drag down the median price by a large factor. So here we can see also there are costs that are going to be included in owning a meta venture, and this might turn some people off from wanting to open one up, but you might want to become a sub-merchant and place your assets or products in someone else's store, and that might have less risk from your end, but you will have to pay a commission to that meta venture owner. And this is essentially how the store owner is able to make some money. To summarize, there was a lot jam-packed into this video, and if you just jumped to the end here, I highly recommend going back and taking a full look at what I had to say. We can expect to see a lot of new things coming into the metaverse, whether it be cars, manufacturing, how you're going to be planning these production lots, how you're going to be thinking as a manufacturer how many things you will want to produce. At the beginning, we're going to be looking at cars coming from the Upland native brand. After producing these cars in the Santa Clara production facility, we can expect to see them in showroom meta ventures where you will be able to purchase those. Hopefully we can expect a partnership between Upland and Oracle and maybe even Red Bull. We also have ride sharing and delivery services to look forward to in Upland as well. Using the same functionality, we can expect to see outdoor decor manufacturing plants and showrooms as well. These showrooms will look different, hopefully, from some of these other meta-venture stores that we have, like the Block Explorers that everyone's familiar with. We can expect to see venture dues where people will have to pay to operate their meta-venture. Many people will open stores and realize that the fees to keep them operable are a lot higher than they want them to be, and they might end up closing their store down. They might decide to move their store to a different city where there might be less competition in order to save some of the costs. We can expect to see players that for this exact reason do not want to open up a meta venture of their own, but still want to list their assets in someone else's store, to have the ability to do that and pay a certain amount of commission to the store owner. This video was a really important update and a big milestone for what Upland is going to be doing. You can expect to see a lot more videos from me talking about each of these in a lot more detail as these features come out within Upland. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel, leave us any questions or comments down below, and don't forget to like this video.